Hi, this is Majinoni, and here's an edition of Marvel History. This is for the Acts of Vengeance. I recently got the Acts of Vengeance omnibus, and as you can see, this is a monster-sized edition. This took place in the late 1989, early 90s, and as you can see, it went through like Avengers, Spider-Man, Iron Man, Cap and Thor, Cloak and Dagger, and Quasar. And this was actually a really good idea on paper, but it just, in my opinion, it fell apart. Basically what happened here is, like, Loki makes this, he teleports to Earth, and he's like, this is what kind of made me laugh, is like, he's like, only nobody of significance saw me, but, that must be a good omen, because I was able to teleport perfectly to this location. And I'm like, are you an idiot? Because that's not a good omen. That's just common sense. You teleport to a spot where, nobody would find you. Or see you, I should say. Well, anyways, what he basically did was he went around and he's like, if you keep getting beat by the same hero, why are you fighting that same hero? What you should do is you should fight another villain's hero. And it was kind of like a give and take situation where one villain would ask another one, like the key villains, like you had a Wizard, Dr. Doom, Red Skull, Mandarin, Kingpin, Magneto, and what they would basically do is they would swap. You kill my hero and I'll kill yours, type thing. And so on paper it was great. You had a jailbreak in the the vault, and it was actually entertaining. You had unique fights that never really happened. Like you have, like for an example, this one right here, you had, what's his name, Graviton, was fighting Spider-Man, and he's normally, an Avengers villain. So you got to see some unique pair-ups, I guess you could say. Where it fell apart was, it's like it just kind of got boring, and by that I mean it only focused on certain characters, and I don't think it pushed the envelope enough. For example, like they concentrated a lot on Spider-Man, which was great, but what they did was they gave Spider-Man cosmic powers, so he was like that Captain Universe guy. And once they did that, it didn't matter who he went up against, he was able to beat. And that's where it kind of was bad. What they should have done was left it at the beginning here, where it was like Spider-Man versus Trapster. Trapster actually got the upper hand and almost beat Spider-Man. And then they had more villains coming after him. But, they should have it should have been one right after the other without the cosmic part. Same with the Avengers part. There should have been more attacks. Now, there was some, there were good moments in here, but it just, like I said, it was just missing things here and there. And I think what I found was, as I was reading it, once I started to get about this far into it or so, that's when I just really started to lose interest in it. For example, the Cloak and Dagger part, you can tell that this was just an attempt to boost their sales, because it was Cloak and Dagger versus the Jester, a Daredevil villain. This one was a good fight here, where you had the Avengers versus the Kree Force. You also, Quasar played heavily into it, which was, it's okay, but it was like it needed more. Captain America was constantly in it. With the controller, and the main supervillains, they didn't start fighting amongst each other enough, I don't think, but I did enjoy seeing the interaction between Magneto and the Red Skull, because eventually Red Skull started to spew his superior race stuff on Magneto, and Magneto didn't take too kindly to that. This also did have the appearance of the New Warriors, which was, I guess you could say it's landmark in that, especially the history of the New Warriors. But other than that, like I said, it was a good idea that just, it just didn't have good enough follow through. We did actually get some really nice artwork though, because you had the Todd McFarlane pages in Amazing Spider-Man, which was like Hulk versus Spider-Man, and there were several issues drawn by John Byrne. Like for example, he was mostly in the Avengers, and so you had like the West Coast Avengers versus the Mole Man, and then you also had West Coast Avengers versus the U-Men. So I thought that that there were some good parts to it, some decent battles, but it needed more of a. I think if they needed more attacks, more coordinated efforts, rather than okay, I send you, okay, I send you. The Red Skull was probably the only one that was really trying to manipulate things a lot more, and so for that part, I would say that part was good. I liked what Magneto did to the Red Skull though at the end. Anyways, if you have any, that's basically what Acts of Vengeance was. If you have any comments or questions, let me know. Rate the video up or down. Let me know what you think. Personally, though, I will say this: if you're a Marvel fanatic, then buy it. If you need to have all these crossovers or all these types of stories, buy it. But other than that, it's not. For the price, I wouldn't pay full price for it because this is $100. I bought mine Amazon, and Amazon had it on sale, so I wouldn't pay full price for it. But other than that, yeah, if you can't get it at a discount, then I would pass. Let me know what you think. If there's anybody out there who has read the Acts of Vengeance, curious to know what you guys thought about it. So let me know, and I'll have more reviews up later. So until next time.